You know that one person who can make tension just vanish. The room is one wrong sentence away from an argument, voices are rising, somebody slammed a door earlier. And then he walks in. He does not yell back. He does not go quiet and sulk either. He just sits down, asks one simple question, and somehow the whole room exhales. Nobody decided to calm down. It just happened the way a wave settles once the wind stops blowing. You did not even notice your own shoulders had crept up to your ears until they dropped. You catch yourself thinking, how did he do that without doing anything at all? Here is the question nobody really asks out loud. Why does that kind of calm feel more attractive than passion, more attractive than grand gestures, more attractive honestly than almost anything else a man can do? Today we are breaking down why emotional control is one of the most underrated, most magnetic traits a man can have, and exactly what is happening in her head quietly underneath the surface when he has it. Welcome to Dear Myra. Picture this. You are stuck in traffic, already 15 minutes late, and your phone buzzes with a stressful message right as the car in front of you brake checks you. Your heart is already pounding before you even get out of the car. You walk in expecting to explain, defend, maybe even apologize for being late. And then he is there waiting, sees your face, and does not ask what is wrong in a panicked tone. He does not match your spiral with one of his own. He just says, okay, let us figure it out. Calmly, almost boringly calm. And your breathing slows almost involuntarily, before you have even said a single word. Nervous systems sync with each other. That is not a metaphor, it is biology. Calm people are walking regulation. Her body relaxes near his, whether she wants it to or not. The same way your shoulders drop when someone finally turns the loud music down. That is literally how attraction starts in the body, quietly, before it ever reaches her conscious thoughts. At a family dinner, an old argument resurfaces, the kind every family has on rotation. Two people start raising their voices, and everyone else at the table tenses, waiting to see which direction this goes. He does not take a side loudly. He does not try to referee either. He just lowers his own voice slightly, leans back a little, and asks one clarifying question. Something simple, almost beside the point. And she notices the whole table's energy drop a notch, just because his did not rise to match it. Nobody told the room to calm down. Just followed him there. In any group, the calmest person quietly becomes the leader of the emotional tone, whether anyone elected him to that role or not. And leadership, even of something as small as a dinner table mood, reads as attractive in a way grand speeches rarely do. She jokes, half-testing, about something slightly insecure of his, watching closely out of the corner of her eye. If he snaps, gets defensive, or over-explains himself, that is data. It tells her exactly where the lever is, exactly which word will make him flinch next time. When he does not react, when he just smiles and says something like, I care, I just do not perform it for you, that lever simply does not exist for her to find. People unconsciously map out where someone's buttons are. It is an old, almost animal instinct, figuring out what controls another person. A man with no visible buttons is strangely safer to be around, not because nothing affects him, but because nothing about him can be weaponized against him later. And safety, real safety, is foundational to attraction, not opposed to it. Point 3 just made you think of someone? Drop a like. Subscribe to Dear Myra. We drop new videos every week on attraction and psychology. A disagreement starts about something small like plans for the weekend, the kind of disagreement that has ended 100 other evenings badly. Instead of escalating to match her frustration, he stays at the same volume, the same pace, like he is having a completely different, calmer conversation than the one she thought they were having. And she finds herself matching his tone within a few sentences, without deciding to, without even noticing the shift until it has already happened. The calmer person in a conversation almost always ends up setting its emotional temperature, not because they win the argument, but because nervous systems default to the steadiest signal in the room, the same way a tuning fork pulls every other note toward it. Something actually goes wrong, not a small inconvenience but a real one. A missed flight. A lost wallet. Bad news delivered at the worst possible time. He does not spiral, does not look for someone to blame, does not need 5 minutes to process out loud before he can function. He just starts solving one small useful step at a time. And she clocks this moment specifically, files it away somewhere she does not even consciously track, the way you remember exactly where you were during the one time the power went out. Trust is not built during the easy weekends, the good dinners, the relaxed Sundays. It is built in the 3 or 4 minutes right after something breaks. And that is exactly when emotional control is most visible, and later most remembered. She watches him handle something that would make most people lose it completely. Rude customer service on the phone. A flat tire in the rain on the side of a road already running late. A genuinely embarrassing public mistake. He handles all of it without performing anger or panic for an audience, without needing anyone to witness how hard this is for him. And there is a small, almost embarrassing thought she has, watching him crouch by the tire in the rain like it is just Tuesday. I want to be like that. Emotional control does not just read as calm in the moment. It reads as competence, as someone who can actually be relied on when things go sideways. And competence has always, across every culture, in every era, quietly signaled value. Point 7 is the one that explains why this actually deepens trust over time. Keep watching. A stressful week, things piling up for her specifically, not for him, not for the relationship, just for her. He is there, steady, not needing reassurance himself, not needing her to manage his mood on top of everything else she is already carrying. And she realizes, almost with relief, that she has actual room to fall apart a little, to be messy for an evening, because nobody else in the room needs catching right now. A man with emotional control does not just regulate himself quietly in the background. He creates space, real usable space, for her to not have to do that work for both of them. That space, that specific kind of relief where you finally get to put something down, is part of what attraction actually feels like up close, even though almost nobody describes it that way out loud. So here is the real answer to why emotional control is more attractive than almost anything else a man can offer. It is not that calm feels exciting in the moment, passion does that better every time. It is that calm is the only thing that makes everything else sustainable over months, over years, long after the butterflies have done their job and quietly left the building. The grand gestures fade too eventually, the way all grand things do. What is left, in the end, is just whether being around this person feels safe in his presence, whether his moods predict her days, or whether they simply do not. Emotional control is not the absence of feeling, and it never was. It is the difference between feelings he has, and feelings that have him, that quietly run him instead. And she can feel that difference within the first 10 minutes of knowing someone, even if she could not put a single word to it if you asked her directly. Subscribe to Dear Myra, and I will see you in the next one.